Previous class we discussed about the impurity defect and non-stoichiometric defect. In this class we are going to discussing about the electrical properties of solids. The solids can be classified into three types on the basis of electrical conductivity. The first one we called as a conductors. The second one we called as a insulators. Third one we called as a semiconductors. On the basis of electrical conductivity, solids are classified into three types, that is conductors, insulators and semiconductors. We'll discuss one by one now. What is meant by conductors? Means the solids having conductivity range, that is between the 10 to the power of 7 to the 10 to the power of 4 per ohm per meter. Per ohm per meter is called as a conductors. Means the solids having the conductivity ranging between 10 to the power of 7 to 10 to the power of 4 per ohm per meter is called as a conductors. Then insulators. Insulators means these are the solids having the conductivity value between the 10 to the power of minus 10 to 10 to the power of minus 20 per ohm per meter are called as a insulators. Insulator. Next we are going to be discussing about the semiconductors. These are the solids that having the conductivity in between in between range of, that is the conductors and the insulators, means intermediate range between the conductors and insulators, that we called as a semiconductors. Now we are going to be discussing in detail about the semiconductors. Then you can first we are going to be discussing about the how the conductivity in the conductors. The conductivity we are going to be discussing about the conductivity in the conductors. When it comes to the conductivity in the electrical conductivity in the conductors, electrical conductivity in metals. Metals is nothing but conductors. Now we are going to be discussing about the electrical conductivity in metals. That is the electrical conductivity of metals is due to the movement of valence electrons. Means in the metal, the combination of atomic orbital of the metal atom orbitals. That is a combination of atomic orbitals of the metal atom orbitals, the orbital banding, and another half of the anti-bonding very close in energy. This set of molecular orbitals is called as a band. You can observe in this diagram. There is a filled, means molecular orbital, set of molecular orbitals is called as a band. This band is going to be overlap with the higher energy unoccupied conduction band, means unfilled band. It's going to be overlap with the higher energy unoccupied conduction band. Then the electron can flow easily from valence band, means valence band to the conduction band under an electric field. And metal show conductivity, means here the band, the set of molecular orbitals is called as the band. That band is going to be overlap with the higher energy, that is going to be higher energy unoccupied conduction band. Then the electron can flow easily from valence band to the conduction band, under an electric field. Then it shows the conductivity is going to be overlapping these two bands. Electron can flow easily Therefore, it conducts the electricity. It conducts the electricity in the conductors. That is, we taken the example metals. Now we are going to discussing about the insulators. In some solids, the energy gap between the valence band and the conduction band is large, means a filled band. This is a filled band and the empty band. Is that is the energy gap between these two bands is large, that we call as a forbidden zone. So the electron cannot jump from the valence band to the conduction band. That is electron, it cannot be jump from the valence band to the conduction band. Therefore, these solids are called as insulators. These type of solids we called as insulators. Then it comes to the semiconductors. In the semiconductors, in some solids, we'll take some solids example, silicon, germanium, like this. The energy gap between the valence band to the conduction band is very small. It can jump the electron from the that is a valence band and the conduction band. That is it's going to be electron can jump from the valence band to the conduction band. Therefore, it can conduct the electricity. Means that is the electron can jump valence band to the conduction band by either by increasing the temperature or by adding some impurities. That we call as semiconductors. That conductors, then these two valence bond and the conduction bond is going to be overlaps. The electrons moment is we can find the electron moments. Therefore, we can see the conductivity in the conductors. But in the insulator, there is a large energy gap between the conduction band and the valence band. Then there is no, it cannot jump the electron from the valence band to the conduction band. Therefore, does not show the conductivity in the insulators. Then in semiconductors, a very less energy gap we can see. In this, the electron can jump from the valence band to the conduction band. When it is going to be jump? When it by increasing the temperature should be increased, or by adding the impurities. At that time it shows the conductivity. This is about the semiconductors. Now we are going to be discussing about the types of semiconductors. When it comes to the types of semiconductors, means there are two types of semiconductors. The one is intrinsic semiconductor, second one we called as extrinsic semiconductors. The first one we called as intrinsic semiconductors. The second one we called as extrinsic semiconductors. The first one we are going to be discussing about the intrinsic semiconductors. The substance which are insulators at the normal temperature. The solids are the insulators at the normal temperature, and become good conductors when the temperature is increases. It becomes the good conductors. That we called as that type of semiconductors we called as intrinsic semiconductors. Intrinsic semiconductors means the substances which are insulators at normal temperature, become good conductors or temperature increases. These type of semiconductors we called as intrinsic semiconductors. The next we are going to be discussing about the extrinsic semiconductors. Extrinsic semiconductors means that is the substance which are insulators at normal conditions, but they become good conductors by doping are called extrinsic semiconductors. Means These intrinsic semiconductors increasing the temperature, this by adding the impurities. Means the substances which are insulators at normal temperature and become good conductors on increasing the temperature. The substances which are insulators at normal conditions but become good conductors by adding the impurities. In the intrinsic semiconductors, on heating, means the temperature is going to be increases, is going to be broken the covalent bonds. These covalent bonds are give rise to the free electrons. The broken covalent bonds give rise to the electron. These free electrons makes the material semiconductor. Example for this is pure silicon, germanium. These are example for the intrinsic semiconductors. The extrinsic semiconductor also be defined as the semiconductors obtained by the adding suitable impurity to the intrinsic semiconductor. Adding the suitable impurities to the intrinsic semiconductors to increase the conductivity of a substance is called as a extrinsic semiconductors. In this process, what is meant by doping? Now we are going to be discussing about what is meant by doping. The process of increasing the conductivity of intrinsic semiconductors by adding the suitable impurity is called doping. Means doping means the process of adding the impurities to the intrinsic semiconductor to increase the conductivity. Is called as this process we called as a doping. Is nothing but just addition of impurities to increase the conductivity of the intrinsic semiconductor. This can be done with the impurity with the electron rich. Either is going to be done with the electron rich or electron deficient when compared to the intrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductors means pure silicon or germanium. That condition should be doping. The doping impurity should be either it should be electron rich when compared to the silicon and germanium, either electron deficient when compared to the silicon and germanium. Then based on this, the extrinsic semiconductors is classified into two types. That is the N-type semiconductors and P-type semiconductors. Now we are going to be discussing about the types of extrinsic semiconductors. Types of extrinsic semiconductors. Then when it comes to that types of extrinsic semiconductors, types of eccentric semiconductor. First one we called as a N-type semiconductors. N-type semiconductors. The second one we called as a P-type semiconductors. P-type semiconductors. We'll discuss first N-type semiconductors. We are going to be discussing about the P-type semiconductors. That is when goes to the N-type semiconductor. First we are going to be discussing about the N-type semiconductor. The semiconductor obtained by doping pentavalent impurity atoms like phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth to a tetravalent silicon or germanium are called N-type semiconductors. Means the doping, that is semiconductors are obtained by adding the pentavalent impurities. Pentavalent impurities. Pentavalent impurities. The pentavalent impurity is nothing but phosphorus. Either phosphorus, arsenic, then antimony, bismuth. These we are going to be adding. That is pentavalent impurities are phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, etc. These pentavalent impurities is going to be duped to the tetravalent solids, elements. That is tetravalent silicon or germanium are called n-type semiconductors. Means the semiconductor obtained by doping the pentavalent impurities like phosphorus, arsenic, antimony or bismuth to a tetravalent silicon or germanium are called as a n-type semiconductors. This we called as a n-type semiconductor. Then comes to the p-type semiconductors. P-type semiconductor is the semiconductor obtained by doping a trivalent impurities. Trivalent impurities like aluminum, boron, gallium, to the tetravalent, that is a silicon or germanium are called as a, that is p-type semiconductors, that we call as a p-type semiconductor. Now we are going to be discussing how the conductivity is going to be arises in the n-type semiconductors. When silicon is doped with the phosphorus, then silicon having that 4 covalent bonds, that is NS2 NP2, means the silicon having the 4 covalent bonds, that is NS2 NP2, that is NS2 NP2, 4 that is covalent bonds with 4 electrons of phosphorus, means silicon is doped with the phosphorus. Suppose silicon is going to be doping with the phosphorus is going to be doping with the phosphorus. At that time is going to be form the 4 covalent bonds with the phosphorus, that is NS2, that is phosphorus having that NS2 NP3, means this is a tetravalent, this is a pentavalent. This can form a 4 covalent bond out of 5 electrons. In the 5th electrons of phosphorus is extra and becomes delocalized when conducts the electricity. So n-type semiconductor, the charge carriers, electrons are charge carriers in n-type semiconductors. That is, electrons are charge carriers in the n-type semiconductors. Means the conductivity in the n-type semiconductor is going to be explained by when the silicon is going to be doping with the phosphorus, is going to be form a 4 covalent bond with the phosphorus. Means silicon is going to form a 4 covalent bond with the phosphorus. Then one more electron is going to be left free. That this becomes delocalized, which conducts the electricity. Therefore, the electrons are charge carriers in the n-type semiconductors. Then the conductivity is increases due to the negatively charged electrons. In the n-type semiconductor, the conductivity is going to be increases by the negatively charged electrons. The next we are going to be discussing about the, that is before going to that, it's going to be say that suppose these are the solid, then these are silicon. If you are going to be taken, these are the silicon, Then it's going to be phosphorus. It's having that phosphorus. This phosphorus or arsenic, you can take the phosphorus or arsenic, anything. This is going to be, it's having that 4 covalent bonds is going to be formed. Another 1 electron is going to be left free. This electron is going to be conducts the electricity. Then the next we are going to be discussing about the p-type semiconductors. In the p-type semiconductors, it is going to be doping with the trivalent impurities. These are obtained by the doping with the trivalent impurities. That is, when comes to the trivalent impurities, if you are going to be taken the trivalent impurities means aluminum, boron, these and all the trivalent impurities. If suppose these are silicon atoms, then it's going to be form the 3 covalent bonds. The boron, if you are going to be taken the example boron, this is going to be form the 3 covalent bonds, and 1 hole is going to be left. Then another 1 hole is going to be left free. Means when silicon is doped with boron, the silicon forms only 3 covalent bonds with the boron, which creates hole or electron vacancy. So p-type semiconductors, holes are charge carriers. That is, holes are charge carriers. Holes are charge carriers. Now we are going to be discussing about the differences between the n-type and p-type semiconductors. N-type semiconductors means it is doped with the pentavalent impurities. P-type semiconductor means it is doped with the trivalent impurities. Means these are the impurities are electron rich. These are impurities are electron deficient. Then the charge carriers in the n-type semiconductors is electrons. The charge carriers in the p-type semiconductors is, that is holes. The holes are the charge carriers in this. The next difference is, that is group 15 elements like that is phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth are used for doping in the n-type, and group 13 elements, boron, aluminum, gallium are used for the doping in the p-type semiconductors. These about the differences between the n-type and the p-type semiconductors.